Hello friends, it's me Doom, and today we're taking a look at a new game sent to me by Dovetail Games. We're going to be taking a look today at Fishing Sim World Pro Tour. Now before we get to the actual meat and potatoes, the actual gameplay itself, we're going to take a look at some of the things, just the basics, that make this game interesting. Number one, let's take a look at the different species and variations. As you can see, there are many. Now, this game mostly features competitive fishing and competitive fishing species. So, there's not necessarily going to be like grass pickerel or, that kind of deal. But, I mean, there are pike and multiple muskie. Oh no, yeah, sure enough, there's chain pickerel. I wonder if there's an actual grass pickerel. Nope, doesn't look like it. So, now, as for myself, I happen to know bass and predators more than I do carp. So, out of the three different types of fishing that you can do in this game, besides just going out and seeing what you can catch, those are my two favorites. Let's take a look at some of these models. Some of these models are actually really good. And just because it looks like this on the model screen doesn't mean this is what you're necessarily going to catch. Each fish is pretty much unique in its appearance, and that's pretty interesting. I thought that was a kind of a nice touch, because you're not always going to catch a green largemouth bass. I'm just saying. They have all kinds of different things, and most of the models look pretty good. I mean, common carp, pretty spot on, I think. Big old scales. They got the goofy looking face with the little tiny barbels and the big old gut. The koi looks like a koi. And the channel Well, the channel catfish looks a little creepy. But the rest of them look alright. I mean, the Wells catfish looks like a Wells catfish. Now, when it comes to different equipment and whatnot, I'm going to show you what I have edited into this tackle box. Now, I have this worm. I own it. It is in my tackle box at the house. And I have this specific Booyah Pad Crasher Leopard Frog 2.5 inch number one, or rather 1/2 ounce, well, right here. See? It's squishy. Went ahead and got a solid plastic rattler, just cause. Now, speaking of brands, let's take a look at the career mode. Yeah, just finished one of these seasons, the amateur season. As you can see, I dominated. I had 5 wins out of 5 rounds. Yeah, made a lot of money. And this is for specifically the Bass Tour. Now, there is also a Carp Tour and a Predator Tour, each with an Amateur, Pro, and Elite ranking. Once you finish Amateur, you unlock Pro. Once you finish Pro, you unlock Elite, so on and so forth. You'll be fishing with the best of the best and professionals from around the world. Now, sponsors are an interesting addition to this. You can boost your earnings by getting sponsored by different companies. You get sponsored by different companies by performing admirably. And if you continue to do so, they will pay you even more. Now, here's the deal. It's not just, oh, I want to sponsor you, let me sponsor you, and this is what I'm going to give you. It's here, I want to sponsor you, and then you can say, hey, instead of doing this like this for guaranteed 25th place or higher, let's do an extra $1,000 for getting 3rd place or higher. Now, if you're not going to be getting into 3rd place, you can kind of bum out a sponsor and, not get that extra money. Sponsors are a crucial part of earning money in this career mode, or in this game in general. One last thing before we go in and check out the actual fishing itself. There are so many lakes here. There are 10 different lakes. We have from Guntersville, Lake Travis. That's kind of close to home for me. Big fan of Lake Travis, right off the Colorado. Let's see here. Lake Miller, Lake Boulder, Lake Johnson, Grand Union, Waldsee in Germany, Bergsee in Austria, Manor Farm, Gigantica in France, which has whales, in the picture where there are no actual whales there. So on and so forth. All kinds of interesting places to go visit and fish to catch. If you know my playstyle, I know a thing or two about bass. One of the most important things about a fishing game is the accuracy to the sport, the accuracy to the species, and the way that they inhabit different places. So, what we're going to do is we're going to find a spot that's perfect for largemouth bass, and we're going to see if there are largemouth bass there. We're going to start out right, let's start here. So as most of you know, largemouth bass aren't necessarily big fans of heavy current, not necessarily fans of deep water or other things. So what we're going to go find is a place that's relatively shallow, that has little current, and most importantly, a fresh supply of what they eat, which is smaller fish, worms. Well, let's be honest, largemouth bass eat everything, even snakes. True story. So here we have a relatively shallow area with marginal current, very small amount of current, with plant life and whatnot to support what they eat. So I think that this is a great place to catch largemouth bass. So I'm going to be using my worm bait here and the total retrieve method, or total control retrieve method, in which, in case you're not familiar with it, you have total control. There is also a more basic casting method, but I'm not going to be using that today. In fact, if you get the total control method mastered, you can actually cast further than you could with a normal cast. So I went ahead and cast out, and it's about 32 feet, or 32 yards, that's the one. I'm going to reel in at a retrieve speed of 3, and we're going to see what all we get. And strike. Learning the strike system in this game is actually very important. And it does look like we have a largemouth bass on the line, or a spotted bass, one of the two. They kind of co-inhabit. Now, what the strike system can do for you, the better strike you get, the less chance you have of losing the fish. And that is a very important thing, obviously, because if you lose the fish, what's the point? So the first thing you should do in this game is try to get that strike system down. If you're unfamiliar with it, they have plenty of tutorials that can show you all the basics for this game. Video tutorials with professional fishing voiceover. Haha, have that. Come on, you. Now, of course, I am using rather basic gear. Come on. So this is kind of a difficult fight for me. I'm going to be doing the best that I can. There we go. Got him. And sure enough, as luck would have it, it's a smallmouth bass. Well, at least they got the bass part right. That's good. Alright, second fish is what we were going after, which is an 8 pound, 8 ounce largemouth bass. And let's go ahead and catch one more, and then we'll try out one more species to test out accuracy on this game. And it looks like my third's a spotted bass. That's not too terribly unexpected, because they do co-inhabit the same spots as largemouth bass. So I'm going to say, out of the 3, we're going to give it so far, let's say a 75-80% accurate to real life situation. Now, as far as smallmouth bass go, you can find them in slightly deeper water around rocks and high currents. So what we're going to do is we're going to go find a place that would more suitably facilitate these needs. Now, this is actually a good spot. There would be a lot of rocks in the water here, but I'm going to see if I can't find something better. If not, I'll come right back to it. Now, it looks like this jetty might give us exactly what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a park right here. Take a little... There we are. Right, yeah. We're going to go ahead and cast using the exact same method and bait, or method and lure that we did last time. We're going to see how accurate it is. We're going for smallmouth bass here, and expect to see spotted bass here as well. And looks like I've got one. And this one's relatively large too. I need to be careful not to lose them. Relatively long fight, but it looks like I've got a largemouth bass here. Not to mention a record for me, 11 pounds, 9 ounces. I'm going to go catch a few more fish, and we're going to see just how accurate it is. Alright, so it looks like I caught another largemouth, or no, it's a smallmouth bass. This one has to be a little green. There's another one right behind me. And he is, in fact, a smallmouth bass. Overall, we cast in places that we knew we would catch bass, and we caught bass. Carp didn't attack the lure. Things that don't go after lures didn't go after the lures. We didn't catch any catfish because we weren't in a good catfish spot. We didn't catch any carp because we weren't in a good carp spot. And I think overall, at least as far as bass fishing goes, we could easily give this an 80% accuracy. You're not always going to catch what you're going after in real life, but as long as you know where to fish, you know, yeah. I mean, the fight is fantastic in this game. There's a lot of back and forth once you get the strike nailed down. It's a lot of fun. I really recommend it. And the real thing is that questions still remain. For example, will there be any more on this game? Spoilers, yes. Who's going to win the Big Fishing Planet IRL Championship prize? You can find out the answers to those and more on the next episode of VonDOOM Gaming!